questions that were asked in the recent examination. Like not necessarily, I don't want you to share the questions, but what the people, you can comment on this session vis-a-vis your examination experience, and then you can share your insights with our people. So this session, as you see in the cover slide, we are going to look at how to continue to build and support high performance teams through collaboration, mentoring, and emotional intelligence. But when I looked through the content, I felt emotional intelligence is a topic that can be done exclusively through one session. Okay, and with CEO coaching experience and relevant certification, I think Bill is the best person to do it as a specific vertical. So we will try to do today collaboration, and along with mentoring, I'll ask him to add coaching. I think without any preparation, if I ask him to do no slides, but I think he will do that. So we'll go for coaching, mentoring, and collaboration today. And yes, I think many of you already know about Sir very well. And you can see him as one of the prominent PMP people-centric domain trainer. Okay, doesn't mean you don't know process, you know all the processes, but still his specialty is building people. So thank you, sir. Thank you for this invitation, honoring our invitation, and then continue with this series without any disruption. So without wasting much of the precious time, I'll hand it over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Srinivasan. Thank you very much for all your kind words. It has been a pleasure to share the knowledge and then to the fraternity, project management fraternity. So it is always a pleasure to do that. So we are starting the sharing. Are you able to see?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we are going to talk about today. Good evening to all of you. Let me start with that. Good evening to all of you.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, welcome.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. We are we are going to start with collaboration and mentoring of stakeholders. Along with that, I will cover coaching also as part. We will postpone this emotional intelligence part, as Srinivasan already mentioned. It's a good idea, and you must have heard our discussion just before we started formally. Okay, so now collaborating with stakeholders. I thought I'll put this slide first. Stakeholders are a very important part of any project. I will tell you live stories of my own cases as I finish this session, so that it will cover the gamut of things what I have gone through. I found this picture and I liked it a lot. It talks about everything in one slide. Okay, stakeholders are people who have something in the project. They can either influence the project positively or they can influence the project negatively. They may be impacted also by the project positively or negatively. So in any project success, the entire planning, control, project delivery, quality, all of them revolve around the stakeholders. So first of all, we need to manage the stakeholders, and then we have to engage them. So this is like a cyclic process, and this will never stop. And if we can make it like a spiral going up, engaging the stakeholders in a very efficient manner, it will help a lot in terms of the project. If you take the context of a client relationship, clients are also a stakeholder. There are two types of stakeholders in the client scenario. One is your direct stakeholder where you are delivering the project. And there are other stakeholders from the client organization who are part of the system but not directly connected with you. Who are these people? They could be the purchase department. They could be the engineering department. They could be another department connected with this department. So engaging them, understanding them, and managing them also helps a lot in the entire process. So I found this as a very fascinating topic, more from a practical aspect. We do a lot of these things without understanding the nitty-gritties of it, because we use our common sense and do it. But if we do it little bit scientifically, we will have a lot of value coming out of it. We will have much more, what we call the effort versus yield ratio will become much more. So that is what we are going to touch upon today. So in stakeholder engagement, we are going to evaluate the needs of the stakeholders. We are going to do the identification, classification, and then developing a communication matrix. All of that we will do as part of this. So who are stakeholders? Any individual or a group with an interest in the project. They can negatively impact or positively impact. How do we identify the stakeholders? We do brainstorming, rapid listing, mind maps, and then conversations with multiple people. So we come to know of stakeholders by talking to them. Okay. Very important point. All of you know who have studied PMBOK. The identification is a continuous process. As the project goes through different phases, there will be new stakeholders coming in and old stakeholders going out. Or the same stakeholder might have changed his role or her role. A new stakeholder would come in and their orientation to the project would be totally opposite of the previous stakeholder. So there are multiple scenarios which come out of this. So it is very important to know the stakeholders at various phases of the project and keep dealing with them on a regular basis. So this is an easy map to identify the stakeholders. This is like a laundry list of stakeholders. For any project organization, there are likely to be this many stakeholders at minimum. At minimum, this many stakeholders will be there. For each category, you may have multiple stakeholders, multiple departments, multiple persons for each one of them. Okay, if you are talking about an ISRO project, like an SLV, there will be some 10 suppliers who are giving various parts for the project. So the 10 of them will be listed against the suppliers. Okay, so for each of these categories, there may be multiple stakeholders, but minimum these categories have to be put here. This is only serving as an indicative list. This is not an exhaustive list. So we need to be careful when we are listing down the stakeholders. My suggestion is, if you come across a stakeholder whom you think remotely is connected with this project, include them. It is easy for you to remove them later. But if you don't include them now, we will forget about them. When we forget about them, they will remind us of their presence at a very wrong time during the project. I repeat, if we forget a stakeholder, they will remind us of their presence at a very wrong time during the project. It will become extremely difficult for us to manage that situation. So it is important that we list the stakeholders and then deal with them later. Now, you must have seen this slide in my previous sessions. If you have attended them, I think it was in the second session or so I talked about this. So the entire process of stakeholder management is through these 4 steps. We need to identify them. We spoke about this already. Then we need to classify the stakeholders. See, all of us who are familiar with PMBOK, we are used to power interest mapping and salience model. We have been used to this so much. So as a part of my change management certification, I went through some courses in which I came across 2 other ways of classifying the stakeholders. That is called CPIG and VNGC. We will see what they are. I found this to be more powerful and little more generic level, and it helps us for large projects. So I thought I will include them here, though it is not part of PMBOK. Knowing them will always be helpful for all the attendees, all of you. Then communicating with the stakeholders. Here we are going to talk about developing a communication matrix. Whatever we are talking about are practical here. Many of them have been practiced by me. I have also been conducting programs where I have made even IAS officers to practice this for their e-governance projects. They have been found useful, not only useful, but very rewarding for them in terms of the results. Then we talk about engaging the stakeholders. We have to engage with them in discussions. We can also have focused workshops. We need to have negotiations with them on certain occasions because some stakeholders may be asking for something which is not part of the project. So we need to be dealing with them, converse with them, and then convince them on certain aspects. So we need to go through the engagement with the stakeholders in a complete manner. So this slide gives you a broad idea of what all we can do with the stakeholders. The most important part with stakeholders is building the trust. Why will a stakeholder believe you? How do we build the trust? See, building trust, I always say it is very simple. It's like the punch dialogue of Rajnikant. Okay, do what you say and say what you do. As simple as that. In any project with a stakeholder, if you are able to do what we say and then say what we will do, then they start developing credibility. Once they start developing credibility, they start believing you and they start depending on you. They start developing confidence in you. Confidence over a period of time becomes trust. So it is basically do what you say and say what you do, build credibility. Credibility builds confidence. Confidence takes us to the trust level. It is like a pyramid. So building trust is very, very important. And there are situations where negotiations can be achieved because of a trust. When we say something, people listen to us because they have trust in us. So it is extremely important that we develop the trust with all the stakeholders. It doesn't have to be you as a project manager or you as a module leader or a tech lead or a group lead or a business head. It can be somebody in your team who has the knack of doing it with that person. And that person should have the trust with the stakeholder. It doesn't have to be you always. Then open dialogue and meaningful communication. This is very important. And understanding of the aims and expectations. Many a times, stakeholders come out and then oppose an idea or not cooperate because of misunderstanding of the objectives, misunderstanding of the outcomes. It is very important for us to tell them what this is all about. Please remember this point. I will tell you the story which happened live in my case connected with this. Then keep an ongoing discussions to ensure that the stakeholders are knowledgeable on the progress of the project. Okay. This is where leverage interpersonal skills, feedback, and meeting management. This is where I said you don't have to be building the trust. Use somebody who has the best of relationship with that person to manage the show. It doesn't have to be you all the time. It can be somebody in your team who is your lieutenant. So that way, it is a cyclic process. You know, the whole thing keeps going round and round through the project at various points in time. So it is a continuous process done with conscious effort. Now comes classification. So the classification here, it's called CPIG classification. The CPIG stands for customer, provider, governance, and influencer. There are four: customer, provider, governance, and influencer. So all the stakeholders, when we list them, we can classify them under these four categories. Whatever be the number of stakeholders or whoever is the stakeholder, you can put them into one of these four buckets. Depending upon where they fall, we need to deal with them. We need to deal with them in a proper manner, and we need to assign the seniority of the person who is supposed to deal with them. Also depends upon where that stakeholder belongs to. It is very important that we take care of this in an appropriate way. So this is on the CPIG model. The VNGC model talks about communication channels with the stakeholders. At the core is called vital to engage, vital to communicate. These are the most important people to be communicated. Without this communication, nothing will work. They will not give you approval. The project will go for a toss. Then there is somebody called necessary to communicate, necessary to engage. That is the second layer of people. This layer of people are critical, but not as much as vital, but they are also important for the program. Then there is a third category of people good to have engaged, which means it is more of a feel-good factor. They are not speed breakers, they are not enablers, but they can become one later. They can become a speed breaker at a later rate. They can become a hindrance at an inappropriate time. So it is good to engage them. And there are the fourth category of people called courtesy to inform. This is more of, I can't call them as pedestrians, but they are important to the extent that they will be useful for us later. We can always make use of them later. So this could be a reference who gave you this particular department, and then you got a project because of them. So when you call up and tell them, look, I got the project, thank you very much for this, he will feel happy. And he will feel more important, that he knows that you are treating him with importance, right importance. Next time around, you can go happily and ask him for one more reference. He will be more than happy to give you. So it is good to have this courtesy to inform people also. So now this model is based on the role of the stakeholder. The first model, CPIG, is based on the role the stakeholder is playing. And this one is on the engagement model. So these two together give a very powerful combination for us. So this 4 and 4, when you overlap them, it will come in the form of a radar chart. So you have, assuming that you are talking about governance, somebody in governance, vital to communicate. Somebody in governance, necessary to communicate. Somebody in customer, good to communicate. Somebody in customer, vital to communicate. So you can have combinations of all these things. Now, so that is where I liked this classification between CPIG and VNGC as a very powerful method of classifying the stakeholders. So this is something new for you. If you have not been used to this, maybe this is something you can start doing it. Now comes our classical PMBOK model, power interest mapping. We know this, we have gone through this in our PMBOK. For the sake of completion, so you have interest or impact on the x-axis, power and influence on the y-axis. Low power and low interest, these people are spectators. They are like pedestrians. They are not going to do anything for you as of today, but they need to be monitored. There are people with high power but low interest. They are influential observers. They need to be satisfied. This could be the CFO who is signing the check of our project. This could be the head of the department of a horizontal where our project is getting executed. He is the one who is supposed to assign the people for this project. So it could be any one of those people. Then comes high interest but low power. These people are the beneficiaries. They are the active players. They need to be informed about what is going on. Okay, the first line talks about the role and the second line talks about the strategy, what we should do. High power and high influence, high power and high interest. These are the people who are key players who need to be managed very closely, who need to be engaged very closely. And anything wrong with this set of people can derail the complete project. So we have three models: CPIG, VNGC, and power interest mapping. Now we have a powerful way of generating something called as stakeholder communication matrix. I used this. You can keep on adding the columns based on what you need, but I'll tell you the basic structure of this. Okay. So we have listed the stakeholders on the left side. So general manager, chief finance officer, client, single point of contact. So these are all some names. Where do they belong to in the VNGC? General manager is vital to communicate. General manager is part of governance. And general manager is also power and interests are high, so he becomes managed closely. Managed closely is here, engaged closely. So these three columns are based on the classification of this particular stakeholder. So knowing that this person is a VIP, we need to ask him as a project manager. I will have to go and ask the general manager, what do you want to know about the project? If the person says, I want a progress report, what kind of frequency? Monthly. When do you want it? Second day of the month. What format do you want it? I want it in the form of a PPT. What is the mode of communication? Email. Who will make this monthly report? Project manager will make it. Who will approve this? The division head will approve this. So this will give you a complete 9 yards of how you will manage this stakeholder. For example, you take this CFO, he says financial report, he needs it only quarterly, first week of the subsequent month. How do you want it? It's in the form of Excel. What is the mode? Mail. Who will make it? Who will approve it? Business head will approve it. And what do? You don't send it. You meet and explain it to him. What was spent? What is needed for the budget? Meet to explain. So this way, you will be able to keep the CFO in good spirits. Why are we talking about all these things? PPT, email, all these things. What I have found in projects, this is personally my experience. When you send a weekly report or a monthly report, predominantly people don't look at it. Okay. We used to make reports. I'm telling you live cases with customers in Europe. We used to make weekly reports. Project managers used to send these reports. Week after week, there will be no response from the customer. Then when there is a milestone review, they say, no, you didn't give this, you didn't give that. And this project manager, poor fellow, will say, no, I have sent it in the weekly report. I have sent this, I have asked for this. No, we never saw it. So this used to be the scenario. Then we found out as a part of our analysis, what I found was the weekly report is a 2-page format. And there is a title and it also has the week beginning date and end date of the week. And the month is there. And then you have planned work completed, planned work not completed, unplanned work completed, issues to be resolved, highlights of the project, billing information. All these used to be in that order. So when the report is made, most probably items needing their attention, issues to be resolved, that used to come in the second page. Highlights used to come in the second page. Planned work completed, planned work not completed, all of that will come in the first page. First thing, the client was not even opening the mail, the attachment. Second thing, even if you opened, he never went to the second page. So issues to be resolved was never looked at by them. So once we found out, we changed the format. We changed the format saying that weekly report for that particular week, issues to be points needing attention. We don't want to start with issues. Points needing attention, immediate attention, 1, 2, 3. That will be in a box. Below that will be the progress. Below that will be something else. The whole thing was not more than 1 page. We made sure that the whole thing is in 1 page in the proper format. We actually started putting that as an attachment to the email and cut and pasted it in the mail body itself. Then what happened? The response time changed. From up to milestone meeting, nobody even looked at it. Now we were able to get the response on Monday or Tuesday. You send the report on Friday, you get the response from them on Monday or Tuesday. That is the way the whole thing was going on. So the communication is an important aspect, and their reading this is an important aspect. Let me take the case of e-governance projects. Most of these IAS officers and senior department heads, they never look at the mails. They never look at anything on the screen. Today things have changed. I'm talking about 5-6 years back. The secretary used to take a printout, give it to the boss, and boss will review, type it, give a dictation. She will type it, give a printout, he will correct it, and then it will be sent as a mail. All this, what I am telling, is for a mail. And you send a report, boss doesn't even look at it. The printout is given, he doesn't even look at it, he doesn't understand it. So in such cases, asking them what format you want. There are some people who say that you meet me and then brief me. Just meet me for 15 minutes and brief me on what is going on. I had a boss who said, I don't need any report from you. I was doing a very critical project for one of the merger and acquisitions. Sudeep Nandi was the boss for me for that particular program. He was the chief strategy officer. He said, BKM, I don't need any report from you. I don't need big Excel, nothing. You give me only exceptions. What you planned, what did not happen. Where you need my help. Only that. You send an SMS. It was not WhatsApp days those days. You send me an SMS. Don't even send a mail. Only SMS. I will call you. And promptly used to do that. I never made a report for that particular program, which ran for almost 3 months. Okay. So it is the choice of the stakeholder, how he wants it, and how we are able to communicate the progress of the project. This will be very, very useful. The other application of this one I found in some very critical projects. We didn't make it for every project, at least in my wireless days. We used to make it for very critical projects and paste it in the work area. So people know what report is due on what date and who is preparing it and who is approving it. So if I am a team member and I'm supposed to send a message or send my progress report to my boss, I know that it is due on 2nd of the month. I should be able to send it at least the last day of the month so that my boss has 1 day to prepare it. So he will do it. If the report is due on Friday, I should send my report on Thursday at least. So the pressure is on them to send the report. And this is public information, not that it is hidden, nobody knows, or it is a secret or something like that. So it creates the transparency and trust among the people in terms of making their report in time to their respective supervisors. So at the aggregation level, you don't fall short of any inputs. Now, collaboration with the stakeholders. After we send the information to them, we have to talk to them. We have to also collaborate with them for various aspects. Okay. That is given here. We have identified, we have done talking to them, and we need to do collaboration with them. How do we do collaboration with them? This is done based on the mutual needs and expectations. Each stakeholder may have a different requirement. We can't be meeting all their requirement. I am only saying managing, collaborating, communicating. I have never said meeting the expectations of the stakeholders, because there are some stakeholders whose expectations are not possible to meet. So we don't have to bother about meeting them, but we have to engage them, collaborate with them, and communicate with them. We have to manage them, okay? And then we have to involve consistently with them. This is very, very important. Consistently, what does it mean? Week after week, month after month. It is not done for 5 days and then forgotten. After 2 months, again 3 days, forgotten. Not like this election where the politicians engage the voters. Okay, it is done on a consistent basis. Then doing activities for regular collaboration. This may not be possible daily stand-up meetings with the external stakeholders, but at least with the project stakeholders it is possible. Project team members. Wherever members can be kept together, we can co-locate the teams. See, the projects I am talking about is, in some cases, in the case of, let us say, software projects, we will be doing testing, somebody else may be doing localization, somebody else may be doing the system testing. It might be a good idea to keep them in the same building, maybe in different floors or the same floor, so that they are able to walk across and talk to each other on certain doubts. Otherwise, this will be a problem. And then scheduled sessions, milestone reviews, this is a must. This automatically happens in most cases, but many a times this has to be planned and executed. Sometimes it is planned but not executed. What we have to do is we have to plan it and execute it. Okay, and then determining the and optimizing collaboration activities in an ongoing effort. This is a very, very important aspect. We can't be over engaging with the customer. We can't be over engaging with that particular stakeholder. It is something like being near a fire during winter. You can't go too close. You can't go too far away. You need to maintain that distance, which gives you the warmth, which gives you the comfort, and more importantly, safe. This is very, very important. Going closer to a customer, going very close to a stakeholder can create trouble for us sometimes. So we need to be understanding and optimizing the collaboration levels with the stakeholders. I am tempted to stop here to ask questions. We are very good on time. If you have any questions, please ask me. Is it okay now, or shall we finish it and then ask Srinivasan sir?
Let them choose.
Sir, this is funny.
Yeah.
Yes, Vinny.
Yeah, one question I have regarding your stakeholder involvement. Suppose if we conduct any agile assessment within the team, is it recommended to involve stakeholders if he is located in completely other part of the geographical location, suppose in US?
So are you saying I am not able to involve my team members? Can I include my stakeholder who is in the other side for my agile meeting? That's the question.
Yeah, an agile assessment is going on for my team.
Yeah.
So my stakeholder is located in US.
See, he is going to add value to the assessment process. Okay. If it is of value to you and the project, yes, you can involve them wherever they are.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Unless otherwise there is value, there is no point in including anybody for that matter.
Got it.
Yeah. Any other point? Okay. So let me go. We'll have a little more of time later. So we are talking about mentoring the stakeholders. See, this is a very strong statement, mentoring the stakeholders. So we will see how to do it actually. It's an ongoing activity. We have to recognize what to mentor, whom to mentor on what. Okay. So here there are multiple techniques being talked about: group coaching, teaching, facilitation, etc., etc. So we will actually see what they mean. Before I go there, I just want to talk about a generic important aspect. See, as a project manager, this is a very important slide, and this talks a lot about various aspects what we can do. There are 4 different roles a project manager can play. Okay, the 4 roles are: the manager can be PM can be a coach, PM can be a mentor, PM can be a trainer, or PM can be a facilitator. Many a times we use these 2 words interchangeably, training and facilitation. And many a times we also misuse the words coaching and mentoring. Coaching and mentoring are different. And we do different things to different people at different points in time. So what we should do with whom at what point in time has to be decided by us. Okay. So let me give an example before I explain this. Assuming that we are a project manager, you are a project manager with something like 20 years of experience. You have team members, you have your immediate junior at about 16 years of experience, and about 12 years of experience, there is another person, and there are people with 10 years of experience. So the way you deal with your 16-year experienced person is different from the way you deal with your 8-year experienced person. For the 16-year person, experienced person, you will have to just tell him what you are expecting and leave the rest to him. Basic definition of the work, and you will allow that person to decide what to do. But on the other hand, to the person with 6 years experience or 8 years experience, you may have to sit and explain to them what you want, go in a step-by-step fashion, and tell them when they have to come back to you, what you have to do. All of that you will do with that person. So that role, you actually become a teacher or a trainer in that role. When you are a person with something like 20 years of experience and you are dealing with a 5-year-old experienced person, and you are giving a difficult job to that person, you actually teach the person. You are the expert on the subject. And you are also going to monitor the progress of the other person. You are asking that person to come and report to you every 3rd day, 4th day. What is going on? How is it progressing? Show me the progress. What did you find? What you found it difficult? You actually handhold the person. You become a teacher or a trainer for that person. That is this training. And assuming that you are talking to a person who is 12 years experienced, or you are talking to another peer whom you are discussing on a particular topic, you are actually providing a support. Okay, you are supporting them, you are asking them questions, you are enabling them to do things, and you are removing the roadblocks for the other person. And you are making the person to think along with you. You are actually sharing some thoughts. Can we try this? Can we try that? Will this work? Will that work? That is facilitation. And you are also removing the roadblocks for the other person. That is facilitation. Mentoring, you become an advisor. You are an expert in that area. You have thorough knowledge. You have done it. You have seen it. You have done it 10 times in your life. Wake up and sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning. You will be able to read out what all has to be done. You are that expert. So in that case, you are telling him step-by-step process. Do like this, go there, finish it off, come back. So you are the difference between trainer and mentor is mentor gives the details and then allows the person to do it. Whereas teacher or trainer keeps on asking for input then and there and keep on hand holding. Mentor does not do hand holding. And then coaching. Coaching is actually a very involved process. Compared to mentoring or teaching or training, coaching is a very different process. It requires the coach, that is you or me, to have elevated thinking process. In coaching, you ask questions, you don't tell them the answers. What do you want to achieve in life? So what? What will you do after that? What next? Why do you want to do this? What if you don't do it? What if you did it? How long do you think it will take? Who did like this in the past? Is there anyone whom you have a role model? These are the kind of questions you keep asking to the other person. And then keep on getting the answers from them.
Supports awareness of choices.
I think please mute yourself. So in that process, you keep on asking questions to the other person and making them to self-explore, making them to self-discover their own potential, and you keep on elevating their level of thinking. That process is called coaching. Okay, you are creating an awareness in the other person. You are creating choices. You are making them to formulate their goals, making them to strategize to achieve the goals. And you are elevating them from this level to this level. Okay. And finally, you are there as an enabler. If any one of you are there with a chemistry background, there is a chemical called catalyst.
Yes.
Catalyst will not participate in the chemical process, but it will enable the chemical reaction. Coach is like a catalyst. Coach will be there standing by the side, asking a lot of questions to them. What else? What else? What can you do? What did you do right? What did you do wrong? Why did you do wrong? What happened at that time? What do you think you could have done better? By asking these questions, we are making them to do an introspection. It's a very, very powerful job, and it requires a lot of patience. It requires a lot of effort and preparation before we go for the meeting. So we as project managers have to perform all the 4 roles. Depends upon what role you play with whom as a coach, what role you play with a trainer, with somebody else. The same thing is true for team members, same thing is true for stakeholders. There are sometimes some stakeholders who are very senior officers who doesn't understand the technology, who needs to be told all these things. We can tell them, you want the report. Do you want a perfect report? Yes. Do you want an accurate report? Yes. Do you want it at the click of a mouse? Yes. How often you want it? Whenever I want it. So what do you think? How do you think we can make it happen? Can you make it manually? They'll think, oh no, it is difficult. You want it at 10 o'clock in the night because there is a CM's meeting next day morning. Can you do it? No, I don't think I can do it. So how else can you do? Can you automate it? If you automate it, what information do you want automated? So you start going through the entire process. Believe me, it is a long process, but once done, it will be for lifetime. When you coach people, they learn it for their lifetime if we do it the right way. But if we do it for the sake of doing, it will go back to old scenario. Okay, so coaching can be done as a very powerful process. Now, this is another powerful tool of mine. Okay, we have talked about classifying the stakeholders based on CPIG, VNGC, power interest matrix. There is a 4th method of classifying the stakeholders. This method is their orientation towards the project. First one was governance, CPIG, what is the role they are playing. VNGC stands for the engagement, vital to engage, vital to communicate, like that. Then the power interest matrix talks about their influence and the interest on the project. The 4th method is actually their orientation towards the project. They can be promoting the project. They are the supporters of the project. They are supporters of the project with a slightly less conviction. They may be very neutral to the project. They may be negative to the project. They may be the showstoppers of the project. They want to put the block on the project, come what may. I will not permit this project to go through. They can be like that. So I have divided them into 5 categories. You can make them as 3 also: stoppers, neutral, and promoters, or negative, neutral, and positive. You can have 3 categories also. I made it 5 categories because this makes it easier to classify the people. So we have stakeholders 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are into classification. VNGC I have put here. Okay. He is part of governance. Vital to communicate. So I have put some classification here. You can bring in all the classifications also here. Okay. And this person is negative. Because he is negative and he is also at a governance level, it is a hindrance to the project. We have to convert this person from negative to neutral or negative to positive. If you don't do that, the project is under risk. There is another person, stakeholder 5, who is a neutral person. We have to bring him as a promoter. There are 2 people who are positive and promoters. We don't have to do anything to them. That's what we assume. But we have to engage them also so that they stay here. If there is a positive stakeholder, we have not engaged the person, this person will go to neutral and then slowly he will become negative. This stakeholder is important. We have to manage them also, not only the negative people. Those of you who are married will know that your spouse has to be managed. You can't say, anyway, you are my spouse for lifetime. So what is the big deal? No, you have to remember the birthdays, you have to remember the wedding anniversary date, give them the right gifts, talk to them nicely. If you don't do, what happens? They become neutral and negative, and then they become showstoppers. It will become a hindrance. You want to test it? One example, forget their birthday or forget the wedding anniversary, then wait and see what happens next. Okay, and tell me next time.
Sure, sir.
I am talking from my experience.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this is a very, very powerful tool which can be used for managing the stakeholders. I want to take it to the next level. This is one stage. Taking it to the next stage, I have another option here. Okay, these are all, you don't find them in any book. These are all made out of my own experiences. So now what you see here is this slide here on the left side. Okay, I have added the other columns here, which is called the action matrix. This action matrix assigns a person called T. Raghavan to convert the stakeholder from negative to positive. This guy is allocated for managing the stakeholder 1, conversion from negative to positive. Okay, this is actually the job of Mr. Raghavan. When will he do it? By 15th November. What is the action plan? Share the progress. How often you do it? Monthly. Every month, Raghavan has to go to the stakeholder, show the progress, ask him questions. What is done? What is not done? Is he okay? Not okay? And come back and report to the project manager what is going on. His only job other than the project is to meet with this stakeholder. For the stakeholder 2, we have assigned a person called BC Gupta. But when should he change this? By 20th December, from show stopping to neutral. Show progress. Meet and share, convince. So these are all the action plans. This can be negotiated. This can be meet and share. So basically what we are saying is, I have developed a stakeholder classification based on their orientation to the project. From the orientation to the project, how do I convert them from where they are to where they need to be? Okay, this is a very important act in a project. This will also help in terms of managing the people both internally and externally, and then driving them towards the project success to be a part of our contribution. Okay, now I promised that I will give you some examples in the beginning. So I'm going to give you 2 examples. One is known to all of you because it is available in public domain. The second one is my personal example, which happened in Hyderabad, Wipro. So first one is the Nano project, the small car Nano, Tata Nano project, which was started in West Bengal, in the village Sigur, and the land was acquired. The factory was starting to be built there. The land owners, okay, let me go to that slide here. The land owners were of low power and low interest because they have sold the land already. They have got the money also. So they are low power, low interest. Those people were there. And the company, Tata's, they started building the factories. The landowners were grouping themselves. And they were grouping themselves under a powerful leader called Mamata Banerjee at that time. And they became like a force to reckon with. They became so powerful, they made a lot of noise and they gathered momentum and they became very powerful. Suddenly, they became from low power, low interest to high power, high interest. They started making so much of noise, demanding so many things from the company. It became unviable for the company to meet their expectations. So they went away from Sigur to Gujarat. This is a story known to all of us. Now, what are all the lessons for us to learn as a project manager in this case? The landowners were given money and somebody should have been assigned from Tatas to take care of these people. To take care of these people in such a way that where are they using the money, how are they using the money, and are they grouping for some purpose, why are they doing that, and how do we deal with them, how do we diffuse them. Somebody should have actually paid attention to that and actions taken at appropriate times. That is what is this called monitor. Okay, if that was not done, things should have been bad. You can ask me, is this done in some other places? Yes, to my knowledge, under Chandrababu Naidu's chief ministership, they were acquiring a lot of land in and around Hyderabad. It's called as Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation. They were acquiring a lot of land from various places around the city, and the farmers were given the cash. Actually, there were some social groups, what we call it as NGOs, non-governmental organizations, were roped in by the government to train these people who get the money on how to invest that money and how to make use of that money in a productive manner. This was done in a very subtle manner. These NGOs were told how much money, how much land was sold by that farmer, and how to make use of that money, where do they invest, what do they do with that money, etc. were kind of told to them on a systematic way. Otherwise, they would have simply gone and swindled away the money in drinking or gambling or doing something else. They were actually put to proper use. This was known to me because we are part of the think tank of Chandrababu Naidu at that time. From Wipro, I was nominated from the IT industry to be part of the group. So we came to know that they were enrolling the NGOs for doing this job. This is not part of the government's work. The government's interest was, first thing, they don't want the people to lose their money, hard-earned money, their ancestral property, money, whatever has come. The second thing, by doing this, they will also avoid unlawful activities or illicit activities out of these people who suddenly got so much of money. Third, by doing this, they were able to create some economic activity by way of doing some handicrafts or by way of doing some sale of items which they can make as a cooperative groups. So they were trying to create some economic activities. So this is a very important aspect. The other one I wanted to where I was directly involved was, some of you who know Hyderabad will remember that 2008, 2009, there was a big Telangana debacle going on. Lot of bandh was going on. I am not talking about politics and political, but I just want to tell you how monitoring helps, monitoring of the stakeholders, how it helps in diffusing the situation. Around that time, 2009, we got intelligence reports saying that engineers from IT companies are grouping together to form a Telangana Engineers Association or something like that. We are not coming into the debate of whether it is right or wrong, good or bad. I am talking about purely stakeholder engagement. This information was captured by the intelligence agency of Andhra Pradesh Police at that time. That was an undivided Andhra. So we were part of the Security Council of Cyberabad. So they gave this information and they said mails are getting exchanged in the public domain mails. And they actually told the names of people, mail IDs of people, and that list of about 111 members who were priming this activity with some 10 people at the helm of affairs. This was shared with all the IT giants. Wipro, TCS, Cognizant, all these companies were involved. So each of these companies called their employees, the people who were there, and they kind of counseled them. They have done all the Samabeda Danadanda, all the 4 techniques were adopted by different companies, by different ways. And finally, they were made to understand that that's not going to help. It's a political game which is being played by people. and this whole thing was diffused. You may ask, what is the big deal about it? What is wrong if they form an opinion, form a union, or if they form a group? India is so powerful today. GDP contribution from IT services is so much. If they formed a separate group and they become little powerful, such powerful groups will be inherited by political parties. The moment any professional body becomes politically affiliated, we know the damages it can create. So the India's image as a global powerhouse of IT would have got tarnished. So when you look at it at a larger perspective, diffusing that particular situation within 3 months of its finding was a phenomenal state. I would say that it is a great success for the Indian IT fraternity, because we are seen as one of the powerhouses of IT even today, right? So, and it will continue to be that way. So, if that was there and some political party inherited it or adopted the particular association, there will be some other association in Karnataka, something else will come in Tamil Nadu, and all these things will become part of political outfits, and the whole thing will become a mess. And we will lose our identity as IT powerhouse. So this was actually thought by those people from the intelligence bureau, and they actually briefed us how to deal with this, and we did a brainstorming and we dealt with the stakeholders slightly differently so that we are able to diffuse the situation. Okay, so that is one story. The second, maybe I will stop here and then I will talk about the second story a little later. I think we are done for the day with respect to the content which I wanted to share with you, but we can talk about any of the points we discussed or the examples what I spoke about. I have one more example of dealing with the stakeholders, but you can ask me questions, please.
I think today's topics are so powerful. On slide, it may look very simple in terms of power influence or the engagement matrix. I believe some of the successful or backfired the stories will make internalize these things very well. So as became shared, I mean others also, for example, I have not engaged them properly, because of which this is what happened in the project, or I engaged him well, and that way how that became a critical success. So I think these kind of stories will really make us to understand this concept more powerful, because otherwise these are very intuitive, may look common sense, but many projects suffer because of lack of such simple implementations. Yeah, I would like to hear from participants on particularly on this part. Okay, the stakeholder identification, analysis, and engagement. Okay, is a very important topic, and definitely a high scoring topic when it comes to examination. So more we spend time on it, will definitely be of more usefulness.
Good evening, sir. This is Anubhav.
Yes, Anubhav. In fact, if you want any slides to be turned, you can tell sir.
Yes.
He'll be able to.
Yes, sir, please. Sir, the one wherein we talked about coaching, mentoring, facilitation, and training in the role of a PM.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Next, right. So, sir, though while we were speaking, so it was coming to our head that all these things are different. However, if I go back up, read it after 2 hours or so, so my notes, what I made it is coaching is to have an elevated thinking process. It's like a football match coach, wherein he digs out what is there inside of the team member, right? So he digs out, right? While if we talk about mentoring and training, these are like this is a set process. You have to go by this, and so this is the knowledge area that you have to learn. So what I understood is mainly for this discussion is coaching is mainly digging out from the team member, and while mentoring and training is set of information or lessons that you have to learn and then move forward. Is that right, sir?
Partially right. Partially right. Anubhav, let me go a little deeper and tell you
Right, sir.
some more points, which will probably help you internalize this. What you said is true. Internalizing is very, very important. And second thing, being conscious of what we are doing. Okay. At no point in time we can mix up the roles. As a trainer or a teacher, the person is an expert in the task. That person is an expert in that domain. That is the first thing we have to remember. So if you are going to teach somebody something in that area, I should have acquired the skills either through qualification or through experience. Otherwise, I cannot train or teach a person. That is this. But I can coach a person without being directly involved in that. Because for being a coach, I need to be asking questions, commonsensical, insightful questions to make the other person think. So, for example, I have coached people from mining industry, pharma industry, manufacturing industry, IT industry, high-tech industry, automobile industry. Across the industries, I have coached people. Okay, it's a different matter. Before I go and coach a person in pharma industry, I study the process of what is pharmaceutical industry, how it works, how is the organization, segregated, what are they doing, how are they doing, all of that at a broad level I will understand so that I understand the terminology he is talking. But for a coaching process, I don't have to know anything. But if I am going to train somebody in pharmaceutical industry, I better be a trained, qualified, certified pharmaceutical industry person. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult.
So,
Yes.
It's a very, very important topic. So probably we'll take a pause.
Yes.
If I understand correct, okay, a trainer is looking at the knowledge and the skill gap in a person and imparts that subject matter expertise on him, while a coach looks at the person, okay, not the knowledge or skill, but the person, and then lifts him up, okay, to a different level of maturity. Okay, so that is why the coach need not be a specialist, but he should understand what he does and all. Is that okay, my understanding?
100% correct. 100% correct.
Okay.
A small supplement to that, Srinivasan. It's a very good summary you gave. I was trying to explain so much, but you made it so crisp, very nice. Thank you very much for that. I will add on the coach part, the elevation in the thinking can be at two different levels. One can be at behavioral level. The second can be at domain level also. You can even make a scientist think differently by asking stupid questions to him. Okay, scientist may be a specialist in that particular domain. He may be a nuclear scientist, but by asking some stupid questions to him, insightful questions to that person, we make him to make a bulb glow in his mind or in her mind so that they are able to go to the next level of thinking. So the coach needs to be patient, understands the psychology of the other person a little bit, and then ask those meaningful, insightful questions and keep elevating the person. But the most important quality of a coach is comprehension of what the other person is saying. I can't have a set of 10 questions and keep on asking them one by one. It is to be internalized. The coach has to have an excellent listening capability. Excellent listening capability of not only the spoken words, the unspoken words, unspoken signals, symptoms, all of that has to be seen by the coach.
I'm not sure, just sorry to interrupt. There is one clipping in the internet. I think the doctor is of an Indian origin. How he asked another, I think he's a doctor or somebody, to observe a critical operation, and the operation was success. And then the doctor who performed the operation was so satisfied. He's asking, how was it? What were your observations? And I guess he gave a big list of things, what could have been done better. And he says the power of coaching is so much. I don't remember exactly, but it was very profound, that video clipping.
That's an excellent example. That is exactly what I said. As a coach, you don't have to be a nuclear scientist. You don't have to be a top surgeon in the world. By asking those insightful questions, that can come only by observation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think now we can move on to mentoring and facilitating, because all the four are four big bullets.
Yes. So mentor is a person who has done it all and who has seen it all. Okay. I will give an example, live example. We know that E. Sridharan is a great project manager. E. Sridharan, everybody will know, all the project managers will know. Metro Man, Delhi Metro Man, any huge project, he does it on time and all. So assuming that somebody goes to him for project management, he will tell, this is what you do, this is how you do it, this is the best way to do it, and don't do this because this is not going to work. He is going to give you clear-cut ideas of what works and what doesn't work, what to do and what not to do. And if you do this, this is the obstacle you will face. If you don't do this, this is the way it will work. So he will tell you exactly how to go about doing it. And he can be contacted once in every milestone for next set of milestones. So mentor is somebody who has done it all, who has seen it all, who knows exactly what to do and what not to do. And he will be able to guide you. The difference between a trainer and a mentor is mentor does it once and then he will observe the result after a few days, few months, few weeks, sometimes even after a year. Mentor will not come into contact, whereas teacher or a trainer will be in touch with you on a continuous basis. Okay, so mentoring is basically to tell them, look, you are facing a problem like this. A similar problem was faced when I did this project. I solved this problem in this way. I know somebody else who had a similar problem, solved it this way. So my way and his way are different. You find out your way of doing it for your problem. So this person who is the mentee, who is getting the mentoring, that person gets two perspectives. His mentor's perspective, mentor's friend's perspective. So he will try to collate that knowledge and then apply that as a new process for his project and he will solve the problem. So mentor is somebody who shares his or her experience along with that of somebody else, which can help this person to solve that particular current issue. But a coach will never give a solution. Mentor will give a solution. Coach will only ask questions and point directions, whereas mentor will show the path. Because he says, I have walked this path, I know somebody who walked this path, so you take a path according to what you need. So mentor will give guidance. I'll stop here.
Facilitator.
Facilitator, basically as the title goes, he supports the team. Okay, he might probably go and work along with them sometimes. He will put proper people on the job. Wherever somebody can support them, they will put them. Okay, he will also be playing a role along with them in facilitation. Mentor is hands-off. Facilitator can be hands-on.
Okay, so let me put it this way. Let's say our who is the certified PMP here? Is he there? Jasmeet, yeah, Jasmeet. Jasmeet has just completed his PMP. Okay, so now his path for the next 20 years be to begin as a trainer and then be a facilitator and then become a coach and then finally he should be a mentor. Is that the path of progression correct or different?
Actually, there's nothing like a defined path, but what you started off is correct. Trainer, facilitator, he can choose to become a mentor or a coach.
Okay.
He can choose to become a mentor or a coach depending upon who is coming to him.
Okay.
He can be a coach to somebody. He can also be a mentor to somebody else.
Mm, mm. Okay.
So I was doing mentoring in Wipro for a lot of people. At that time, I did not know I was doing mentoring. I was guiding. I used to say I'm supporting them. I am supporting their development or something like that. The mentoring is the process when you are inside and when you are guiding them with a lot of your insights and others' insights.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Who has asked that question?
Thank you, sir. This is Anubhav.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that was a great question. It was a
Okay.
great question.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Any other question on this?
Okay. Good. There is a question there from Funny.
Huh.
Is Scrum Master a facilitator? Okay. I think that's a right one. Okay. Scrum Master predominantly a facilitator, and maybe he may play
Mentor also.
mentor also. Very good. That's a
Between
that's
the
a
two.
good answer. Yeah. Yeah.
Between the two.
Okay. Yeah. But
Thanks, sir.
predominantly, because all these things, no, they overlap these roles. Okay, but Scrum Master is should be a good facilitator. All right.
Hello, good evening, sir. This is Rudra here.
Yeah,
Yes,
Rudra.
Rudra.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Little tempted to ask one question based on the ongoing discussion. In your opinion, can a person who is not from the the background that the organization is working in can be a project manager? For example, if a person who has been a whole life worked in investment bank and doesn't know ABCD of IT, can he join a project manager and run an IT team and or IT project rather? If so, how? Because that person will not understand the language that is being spoken, then he cannot understand the expectations of the stakeholders. He cannot guide the team. But can he still be the project manager for that IT team?
100%.
Sir, I would like to take
100%.
this question.
You want to take the question?
Yes.
Please go ahead, and then I will add something more with live
Okay.
example. Actually, I have a live case.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to answer the question. I'll only tell myself. Okay. I am a chemical engineer, worked in uniform with industrial boot, F keys, and other gadgets for 15 years. Okay. And one fine day, one strange gentleman interviewed me, and he selected me to be a project leader for a product development of a very, very high-end software product. Okay. At the end of that interview itself, I got nervous. I asked him, "Are you confident?" Usually, interviewer will ask the interview or other candidate, but the candidate now asked the interviewer, "Are you confident of hiring me? Because I do not know ABC of computers, programming, and the technology." And he told me that no, these things we can always give you the orientation, but what we are looking for is okay, something people centricity. Okay, so I guess if you are selected, you will be able to manage. Okay, and it is gone. And 20 days later, I received an appointment order. Okay, about the choice of me for that company. Okay, as one among the thing. Actually, they selected me for a functional expert. That means I came from a project background. They wanted to use for a project background. But the moment I joined, within a month, that project lead or development manager resigned. So they said, "You become a development manager." So then it became another shock. Okay, without knowing the difference between an operating system, application, this database, I don't know ABC of all of them. I was made as a project manager. Okay, so it took about 3 years, okay, for me to really perform the role of the project manager. I during that time, gradually I started understanding all those things. I never learned to write a program, though I attempted in the first 3 months and failed miserably. But one thing that I did is, okay, I understood each of their roles, what they do. Second thing, that domain. Okay, if we are, let's say, project management means what are the nuances? So that's where I was introduced to PMP and then became a PMP in the year 1999. Okay, so then okay, I realized that if you know what they are doing, if you understand what they are doing, if you have a strong people and interpersonal skills, and if you are a champion in the role that is the project management, you can become a project manager. It may be a one of a kind example, but I think they accepted me as a project manager. Okay, sir, now you can add to it.
Very well said, sir. Thank you. And it was very good. Live example. Rudra, I will give you two cases. Both are live from my own scenario. I don't know whether you know, I worked in Wipro from 97 to 2010. Around 2000, when we were increasing our staff count, 99, 2000, we were recruiting heavily because the telecom group was growing very well. And I was getting the group in Hyderabad, we were not getting people. So at that point in time, we were doing a brainstorming and somebody said, we should train people from other domains, we should get people from mainframe, all that we tried. So one of the ideas which came was that we will hire people from non-IT background, specifically people with domain experiences in manufacturing industry, okay, process industry. We said, and this was actually opposed heavily by the HR and from the top management. But my boss, I was actually a group head at that time. My boss, Ramesh Imani, he said, we are going to hire 10 people and we are experimenting. And he hired 9 people and gave me 4 people to Hyderabad. So I was managing them. One came from chemical industry, like what Srinivasan sir was saying. And 2 of them came from steel industry and 1 more person from telecom industry. And these 4 people, I had a talk with them, made them to sit. I told them my own experience. I will tell you my experience a little while later. I told them my experience of managing software people and told them certain do's and don'ts. So literally I sat and did the mentoring for them. Okay. I told them what I went through, good things and not so good things. And I wanted them to avoid those things and come back to me if they face some harassment. I'm using the word harassment because software engineers can harass a boss who is not a software engineer. So this is from my own experience, I'm telling. So after that, I used to review them almost every month, formally and informally. And believe me, they became the best project managers. These 9 people whom we hired from other than software industry, out of that, actually 3 of them got that annual award, the President's Award on various counts. 3 of them were out of that 9 people whom we hired in the first year itself. It is just that mindset. Coming to me, I am a hardcore electronics and telecom engineer. I did my MSc in physics, MTech from IISc Bangalore, and I was working in Indian Telephone Industries and CDOT, Center for Development of Telematics, as a core telecom person with wireless knowledge and switching knowledge. I was hired by Wipro to start the telecom group in Hyderabad. I was thinking I was going to do something in telecom, but it is in telecom, but not in hardware, but in software. So when I started leading these teams, the people who are writing this code in C, C++ and using Unix, I have never written a code like what Srinivasan said. I wrote Pascal programming when I was doing my MTech. After that, I have never touched a computer to write a program, believe me. So these guys, they were taking me for a ride. Literally for first 3 months, they were taking me for a ride by telling me some things initially, like what he said, operating system and application program, he didn't know. I did not know the difference between tools for testing and tools for coding. I did not know the difference of some of those things. So they were mocking and they were actually having fun during the meetings. I used to feel so awkward. But there were a couple of people who helped me learn some of these things. My own peers, one was a quality manager, Aparao, and there was another person called MM there. So they used to sit and teach me after office hours. I learned a lot of things. And I became one of the fastest growing verticals in Wipro. I became the head of the wireless business. And the same people who were teaching me, they turned around and came back and started learning from me, not on software, but on all other things, how to deal with people, how to manage the stakeholder, how to change the scope for this. The moment they know the value coming from me, I joined with 16 years experience. The senior most person was 12 years in my team. Okay. And it was very, very difficult. There were two people, one with 12 years and one with 11 years. The balance were around 10 or less than 10. I was with 16 years. It was tough for me to manage these two guys. And they used to team up and kind of harass me. This is not okay. That is not okay. That has to be done first. This has to be next. So it was a pain. It was only a matter of 3.5 months, 100 days. Set a target, got out of it. After that, there is no looking back. Okay. The same people started telling that this guy stood up all our harassments and then he is here as my boss. They have gone to the extent of saying that. Okay. One of them left the company after about 5 years. He said that in the farewell in a very jocular manner. So to me, it looks like what Srinivasan said and what I said, all the stories apart. The key is 2-3 things. One, intentions. Number two, open mind to learn and go forward. Accept that I don't know and learn it. Third, carry the people along. This carry the people along can be your team members or stakeholders outside, inside, wherever they are. That and most important thing, open mind to learn. I already said that. So if you are able to do that, you can be anybody getting into any role. And finally, this one point, lot of people keep debating this. A project manager has to be technical in that particular project domain. I say it is not required. You don't have to be. I have managed projects where I have not got single bit of knowledge on that other than my common sense. Okay. So it is not necessary that you should be a master in that domain where you are managing a project. I hope that gives you the confidence, Rudra, to go and make waves in your organization.
But we need to remember what BKM and me spoke is not the perception or opinion of the world around us. Okay, so but if you want to grow like that, you need to break those barriers. These are all entry barriers. Okay, a lot of discouragements will come from outside, but if you are steadfast, if you are focused, you can break those barriers and then become. As he rightly said, don't think professionally growing to higher ups and levels. That should not be the motive. Okay, kind of do I as a project manager, I always say this in the Maslow's theory of hierarchy. You should be in the top level, self-actualization level. Am I lifting the people up? Am I carrying forward? Am I working for the interest of the stakeholders around? Okay, if you, as long as you have this, that technical knowledge will never become a hindrance or bottleneck. Okay, so we'll move on to other.
It's encouraging. So one thing, if I just like to reiterate, I mean, you need to have some interest in learning the new skills. Otherwise, it might be difficult.
Yes.
So that is very much important.
100%, Rudra. Yeah. As long as you are open and flexible, the sky is the limit, actually.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing. See, we say managing project. Actually, if you go a little deep, it is managing change. Okay, because I don't want to do a project definition explanation here. Any project is to move something from here to there. Okay, so it is actually a change management, project and program management. So if you want to be a powerful project manager, you should be a powerful change agent. For you to be a powerful change agent, you should embrace the change. Then only you can influence the change upon others. Okay, if you are able to do that, you can be a great project manager, program manager. Okay, that's my, I would say, a recipe to be a successful project manager.
Thank you so much, sir. Noted. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Today, we will reserve last 15 minutes for quiz.
Okay.
So that means we have another 10 minutes.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to narrate another incident, again, live incident. I'll quickly go through that because I said this when I was talking about this particular slide, point number 2 and 3. If you are in Hyderabad, you will know in front of Wipro, there is a lake. Even now it is there. Opposite to the road, just opposite to the Wipro office, there is a road, and on the other side of the road is a lake. It is a perennial lake, and that lake, when we went there, Wipro was probably the second, third office in that area. It is not like the way it is today. Gachibowli area. It was all forest and rocks. So this lake was occupied by a lot of buffaloes during summer, and a lot of smell used to come from there. Unfortunately, Wipro's client dining room was overlooking this lake. So when we used to sit in front in the dining room, we used to see in front of us the lake. The idea was that the lake was good when we started, but over a period of time, it got dirtied. So I spoke to the government to take over the lake and adopt the lake and maintain the lake for the government. It took almost 6-8 months for us to find the owner of the lake, because all these lakes are the property of some department. So the IT secretary helped me to find the owner department, and then we finally signed an MOU between government of Andhra Pradesh, the department, irrigation department, and Wipro for 15 years of lease for maintaining this. And Wipro would spend 5 lakhs to uplift the lake and maintain the lake for 15 years and hand it up to the government. This was the MOU contract signed by me and the irrigation secretary, that IAS officer. We signed the MOU. It was all announced in paper and all that, and we started dredging the lake. The moment we started doing the lake, so in this entire process, I was keeping all the stakeholders informed, the government departments, road department, my own corporate office, everybody was informed. What we forgot was the village folks around the lake. The lake is about 1.6 acres of land. So on the other side of the lake, there were some hutments. Now a lot of buildings have come, but at that time there were a lot of hutments, and some kind of a slum was there. The people were using that lake, and there was an MLA connected with that community of people who were there. So the day we started dredging the lake, bringing the equipment for dredging the lake, within 2 hours, there was a media and then news flash, and I got a call from my office, corporate office, saying that what is going on in Hyderabad. News flash is coming saying that Wipro occupied the lake. Wipro is swallowing the lake, something like that. I did not know. I just went out to see. It was to my surprise that there was a huge, whole lot of vans, media vans, and then huge crowd, etc., etc. I don't know so much of Telugu, so I took my security officer, went and spoke to them. Then we understood it was a miscommunication. Then I gave a statement to the press fellows, and then I sent off those people, and then started talking to the village folks. Village folks were not coming in. They were coming with the MLA. So I had to keep somebody to speak Telugu. Then started talking to them about what is the plan. I had to show them the document. I had to show them the whole thing. So the idea is to have an open dialogue and meaningful communication, improve the understanding and aims and expectations of this project. Why are we doing that for that lake? Our idea was to deepen the lake, clean the water, put a pump set and give it to the community. That was the plan, which we did not communicate to the community. I did not know that such a huge crowd was there and they will be so adverse to the whole project. So the next 3 days, almost 5 to 6 times a day, I used to get calls from some TV channel or some newspaper or somebody. Anyway, fortunately, I had a briefing given from corporate communications. So I was giving that brief to them. But it took almost 1 week for us to get out of that mess. From then on, I started keeping a 15-day meeting with the local community. I used to call them to our office, give them tea, biscuits and all that, make them to sit there. My security officer and admin officer will explain to them what is the work which has been done, what is planned for next week, do they have any inputs, and take photographs, record the whole thing, audio record the whole thing and keep it with us. Because in case something goes wrong sometime, we can always make use of this as a evidence. This was advised to me by the corporate. So we did all this, and finally, even if you go there today, there is a board maintained by Wipro. There is a walking path around the lake. There is a watch tower there. The water quality is much, much better than what it was 20 years back. Again, stakeholder management, I will never forget this story. It was a real hard hitting experience for me. You get a call from the corporate office, you go out and see in your office, and you come out and see in front of you have some 20 vans sitting with the antennas, and then huge crowd with all stones and other things. Got a shock of my life that day. So again, I remember this statement: you can forget a stakeholder, but they will never forget you. So this was an experience. So again, this point number 2 and 3, I wanted to reiterate with this particular thing. Yes. Now, any questions, please? And then the quiz will come after this.
Sir, I have a question for you.
Yes.
This is Vivek.
Yes.
For the stakeholder communication, right? There might be few clients which can be so demanding, and from the organization point of view, and from my point of view as a project manager, we wanted them to, provide as much as we can, to satisfy them, and that's one of the job roles and responsibilities. So, what can we do as a project manager, just to align their expectations, to make sure that we don't lose that relationship, and also we try to satisfy them in terms of needs that they request for.
Yeah, good question, Vivek. See, practically, we have to ask them, what do you need from us on the progress of the project? Okay. Again, on meeting the management, meeting and managing the stakeholder expectations, change management is also a part of it. They keep on giving scope creep, and they ask us to expect it to be accepted without additional cost or additional effort or additional schedule. That is not possible. So we have to distinguish between information sharing and project scope differences. So it is the best to sit across the table with the specific people and discuss with them in detail. This is what I think we will do. This is what is not possible with us because of the framework, because of the point 1, 2, 3. The moment we do that and start following it, things will fall in place. Number 2, we can also do a midterm review. Or if it is an ongoing relationship, we can do a particular agenda item in the QBR, quarterly business review meetings. We can keep a separate agenda on relook at relationships, relook at the interactions. Some title we can give. And then under that, put points, what is going on right, which need to be continued. What is not going on right, to be stopped. What needs to be introduced? Only 3 things: to continue, to stop, and to start in the relationship paradigm. Okay, what is going on right? Weekly reports are coming. What is going on right? So you can keep on adding things like this. What should be stopped? So we are giving reports which are too long, which are not readable, and it is coming late. Such kind of things are to be stopped. What need to be started? So instead of giving a word report, you give me a graphical report. So start a graphical report. So we have to discuss this on the relationship aspect, not only on the project and the business, on the interactions and the relationships. We can put that as an agenda item. And when we discuss this in a forum with set of people, it gets formalized and people accept it. And once people accept in public, they follow it also. So this could be done. This has worked in our cases. Most of the times it will work, except some cultures which are slightly aggressive in nature, some personalities who are aggressive in nature, they will try to push, they have to be managed differently. But almost 80% of the times, 90% of the times it will work.
All right. Thanks, sir.
Yep. Any more questions, please? One last question, maybe. We have still 5 more minutes.
Hello, sir. This is Siddharth.
Yes, Siddharth.
Hi, sir. So I just want to know, you are an industry veteran, sir. So in your terms of working as a project manager, what did you find which was in this current trend, which is different, which you seem relieved about? What changed over the years, sir? That's what I'm asking.
What changed over the years? Yeah, that was a good question, and it is making me think. Okay,
sir.
It is making me think. The biggest thing I found is the freedom we got, the support we got is not there today. It is sad to say this, but this is what I have observed. At least the people whom I am dealing with, see, like I am conducting this program, I am also conducting programs for corporates. People are at not project manager level, but maybe the next higher level, or even divisional heads or somebody like that. But if you take any one of them as a project, the amount of freedom they got and the kind of support they got from their bosses is not the same as what I got personally when I was managing projects. Two things were there. One, I was always feeling empowered to take decisions. And when I had a problem, I never had thought for a second minute to go and report the problem to the boss, even if it was a major issue. And when I was stuck, when I used to go and tell the boss, he would never yell at me or shout at me for making a mistake. Probably they were able to support and then guide in a way we are able to get out of that. And they had the patience and the time and the energy to coach me or mentor me at that time with the right approach and right answers for my questions. But today the managers are, one, restless, and they expect magic, which when I was the head of the business, I used to follow what my bosses follow. That is why my business was growing like anything, and I had a lot of people who were doing extremely well. But I find that has changed a lot. There's a lot of impatience, intolerance, and chance of making mistake and learning is not there. See, the authenticity with which I talk or Srinivasan talks, I don't know whether any of the current project managers can talk, because they were all kind of seen by people and then controlled by people above them. That is one thing which has changed significantly negatively, according to me. I don't know whether Srinivasan has a different view or any other view on this.
Yeah, I think I would like to take it a little further. That was seen, it's a kind of rat race, okay, with that kind of impatience at every level, and people becoming machines. Life is going little chaotic. So probably that's, I feel, one reason God wanted us to give a pause everywhere. So he introduced a virus into this world. And we all looking back and then come to a kind of sense. So when we restart, maybe these things may become better.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. All right. So, okay, now it is the 7:44. Last time we did it through a PowerPoint, but I thought we'll add a little more pep to it. So we are going to do it on Kahoot. Okay, all our alumni, they are very quite familiar with Kahoot. So I thought, why not we try today with Kahoot. I'm not sure how many of you are ready to participate, but try. Even otherwise also you can witness it because it's going to take another only 10 to 12 minutes. So let me share my screen. Yeah, so I'll take this one, and then of course the first part of as the workshop was going on, I was preparing the quiz, so I'm not sure to what extent this is well validated and work, but let's try. Yeah, so get ready to join. Those who are first time for Kahoot, you need to log in to this ID. URL kahoot.it. If you just search in your Google, it will ask, don't put kahoot.com, but log in as kahoot.it. Yeah, Mohan has come. Jaya, Anubhav, Mani. Jasmeet. Yeah, that question mark, I think you should have put your initial. So you haven't put, leave it. You can say who you are. Three, 6, 7, 10. Okay, not bad. I think 2/3 majority has come. Okay, anyone would like to join, or is it good to start? Anyone who would like to join, you are in the process, struggling, you can unmute. Otherwise, I'll get it started. Shall we?
So 1 second, sir. I'm opening it up.
Okay. So this is that. Okay, Rudra has joined. Sunil, super, very good. Are you ready, Siddharth? Okay, let me start. Siddharth, you can join. Okay, maybe, okay, he's joined. Very good. So let's get it started. So people series module 4. Get ready. There are 5 questions. Identify the hidden category of stakeholders. Sarah has shown you this one. Fast, only 5 more seconds.
So we are unable to see the options on the screen.
You don't see that picture. It is there in the picture. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I should have given maybe another 15-20 seconds. Next time we'll correct it. It was spectators. Okay, I think he was also explaining an example with that. Okay, people with minimal influence and minimal power, we need to keep monitoring because anytime they can blow up. Okay, so that is that one spectator, which is need to be monitored with a minimal time. I think this is called plurality. 3 people have answered correct. Okay, and then others have chosen different options. Okay, let's see who are those chosen correct answers. Okay, Praveen, Joshua, and Jasmeet. Okay, congratulations. Let's go for the next question. If you are a project manager of 3-member team, how many non-overlapping communication channels exist? It's a little technical question. You should know the formula. The team size is 3 and you are the project manager.
Sir, actually, on the screen, we see only these options to choose from. We do not see the question as such.
Okay. I'm sorry. I think there is a setting that we need to make. If you are using 2 devices, then in one device you will see the question. Okay. All right, we will correct it. But now, since the play is going on, we can't correct it. Okay,
they have to do it on mobile.
Pardon? Yeah, you have to do it on mobile while you keep the computer screen for viewing, correct?
Yeah. Actually, sir, I'm using the same mobile for both of them. Anyway.
Yeah.
Then it is tough. You need 2 devices.
Yeah, understood.
No,
okay.
there is an option. which will also, question also will be show it in the mobile. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Okay, let us see. Okay, there are 3 new set of stakeholders are coming up. Sunil stands first now. Praveen, Joshua, Siddharth, Jasmeet. Okay, more people are joining to the scored group. Okay, let me go to the next question. I think support teams to achieve goals and supporting change process is part of. Which of them? We spent long time. Okay. This particular technique supports team to achieve goals and it also supports change process. Is it part of coaching or mentoring or facilitation or training? I'll read it again. Supporting teams to achieve goals and supporting the change process. Okay. I think one more to answer, I guess. Otherwise, it will move. Okay. Good. Many of you have answered. Okay. It's a facilitation process. Support is a process of supporting team to achieve the goals and supporting the or facilitating the change process is part of facilitation. Okay. You listened to the session very well. Let's see the change. Wow. Joshua come first. Praveen retains. Sunil retains. And Funny and Anubhav are entering into the fray. So let's move to, I guess, 4th question, 4 out of 5. Oh, it's a multi-select. Your stakeholders are on board and always busy. I'll read it out. It is 1 minute question. Okay, you believe there is a need for face-to-face meeting. What should you do? There are 2 options that will enable face-to-face communication. Which of them? I'll read it again. Your stakeholders are on the move always. They are too busy, but you believe as a project manager the need for a face-to-face communication. What should you do? There are 2 answers in it. So Ratnak, you can post the feedback because there is one more question. Wow, there is a good fight. 9 people have answered very correctly. Hold brief summarization meeting and then use a video conference. Okay, a very good choice. I think this is a typical PMP examination question. 9 of you have answered well. Excellent. Okay, both good. I'm happy about it. Praveen has come. Joshua moved to 2nd. Funny, Vivek and Jasmeet. So the PMP aspirants are doing better than certified PMPs.
And that's actually good, sir.
Very good, yeah. So which of the following is most critical to make a project success? All the 4 are required, but among them, which of them is most critical? It is a single select. Communicating with stakeholders, engaging the stakeholders, managing the stakeholders, and mentoring the stakeholders. Which is most critical? There might be a dispute on this question. I have not consulted Mr. BKM about the answer. Let us see. Which of them is most critical to make a project successful? Communication, engagement, managing, mentoring. Okay, there is a well divided answer. Again, there is a good plurality. Okay, 4 of you have answered correctly. I think 4 more have chosen communication. Communication is essential, but it is not sufficient. When you engage the stakeholders, automatically communication is taken care. Okay, so but you are adding more than that. So the difference between communication and engagement is building relationship. Okay, you can communicate intensely, but have you established a relationship? Okay, have you fostered relationship between stakeholders? Are they taking responsibility, accountability for what they are doing? Actually, that makes the project successful. Okay, so actually it is a tie between communication and engagement, but also managing stakeholder. That's also the next closest answer. Actually, if it is managing stakeholders' expectations, so then it could be another very close contest. Okay, that is also a project manager needs to do, managing stakeholders' expectation. But managing stakeholders actually is not a very appropriate term. In fact, in the 5th edition of PMBOK, the title of the chapter was Stakeholder Management. Okay, the project stakeholder management. And in the 6th edition, they changed it to project stakeholder engagement. Okay, so again, managing stakeholder expectations is required, but the most important, okay, is to engage stakeholders, which will actually take care of communicating, managing their expectations, and if necessary, even mentoring. Because without engaging, you can't mentor them. So engaging includes all the other 3. So that is why that is the right answer. Let's see the final verdict. So the 3rd position goes to Praveen. Congratulations. 2nd goes to Funny. And the 1st is Joshua. Congratulations, Joshua. Jasmeet comes 4th and Vivek comes 5th. So thank you for participating. And now I will pass it on to Ratna. Over to Ratna.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you all for your active participation. We have given the feedback form in the chat. Prashant has posted. So I request all of you to give your feedback about the webinar, and subsequently we will share the certificate for the webinar in your mail ID. You can download it using the access key, and we will be in touch with you for the next upcoming webinar, which will be for fortnight from today. So we will be in touch.
The topic also is shown now. It is going to be emotional intelligence, an exclusive topic for discussion the next fortnight. So we welcome all of you. Thank you so much for participating. In fact, as many as of you can show your face, that will be good. Prashant can take a group pic. As many, it's not a compulsion, but as many of you can show, it is better. Or if you can put a nice smart profile picture in future, that also will add, is good enough. Good, thanks Mohan. Yeah, so Mohan, maybe you can adjust your face. It is a little, thank you. Thank you Anubhav. Thank you Joshua.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes, good Siddharth. You are looking smart. Vijaya, thank you so much. Prashant, the photographer should show the face. Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you, Prashant. That is very nice. Anybody else would like to show your face? Otherwise, Prashant, you can click. Everybody is ready. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you, BKM sir. Sir, please take care of yourself.
Thank you, sir. BKM.
I will do that. I will do that. I am on vacation anyway, so thank you very much.
All right. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, sir.